Hey everybody, what is going on? Serial Overdrive here, and today I'm playing Entropia Universe. As you can hear, there's some sirens going on behind me, so it's a classic Serial Overdrive video. Anyways, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be checking out Club Neverdie. And I did just do a video on what Club Neverdie is and everything like that, but today we're just going to be hunting and talking about the loot here, because in that last video I talked about what Club Neverdie is, but I didn't talk about what I'm thinking of the loot and how it's going for me. So as you can see here, I've been hunting some cornitarians, whatever those are. It sounds like some sort of person that would just eat corn, which is probably not good for you. In fact, I actually hurt my tooth biting into a bit of corn. Not the cob, well, the cob, not the piece. But yeah, cornitarians, I guess. That's what I'm hunting. Anyways, yeah, so I just wanted to talk about the loot and let you guys know what's going on, because I figured the last video wasn't the typical Serial Overdrive style. So yeah, I've been out hunting these beasts. I've been wearing my Mayhem armor, but honestly, I was able to pull it off with Ghost too. You put some plates on Ghost, that's just enough to do it, but I decided to wear Mayhem just for these videos because I didn't want to die. I'm full of myself, and I don't want my my image to be ruined by a quick death due to, you know, some bull-looking animal destroying me. Anyways, these mobs are known for looting some pretty interesting items. So if you check this entering the land area right here, does say what they drop: unlimited Tesla swords, supremacy armor, and some other crazy stuff. That's what these mobs are known to drop, and they are unique to Club Neverdie, which means even though there's attacks, this is the only place you can come to hunt them. So I figured it's probably worth it just to come up here and give it a shot. Plus, I know a lot of people do like my Club Neverdie videos, so I thought, why not just come up here and film a few of them and see what happens. So yeah, in the last video I got a few mining claims. I really should have amped up for that one now that I'm looking at it, but you know, it is what it is. Oops, we got some Aatrox in here. This is a horrible pick for the dome, by the way. Putting Aatrox in with a unique Club Neverdie mob, that's... whoever decided to do that really should be talked to, because it's like, why? Just kill the Aatrox off and let there be this unique mob, you know? Because that's why people are coming up here, right? I'm not going to pay a 5% tax. Well, I don't want to pay a 5% tax for a mob that I could kill on Calypso for 0 tax, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But, you know, it is what it is. I guess I've got to kill them, and they probably make extra money because of that, so I guess more power to them, maybe. But yeah, this is, I don't know, it's been interesting, right? Like, I've come up here. I was expecting to actually get some pretty good loots, because even though these mobs are a little bit lower level than the Hoglow that I was hunting before, they're still level 28 mobs, right? Before I finish rank 1, I'd expect to have at least a global or 2 under my belt. And honestly, I haven't had zero high loot mobs. So it's been a little bit disappointing. It's been a lot worse than I expected it to be. So in all honesty, probably this is going to be my last video on Club Neverdie. I know that the videos do good, but I'm losing a major bucks on this one. So yeah, we're probably going to be calling it here, coming back down to Calypso to focus on the iron missions down there. The iron missions up here are pretty much unattainable for me. The mobs require, I'd have to kill 5,000 of these things, and what I get would be worth it, but there's no way I'm going to be able to kill 5,000 of these bad boys before summer. I'm just not that type of player. And those of you guys who know like Serial Overdrive and know what I do, you know I can't keep my attention span going long enough. If I need to hunt 5,000 mobs, I'm probably going to quit the game. If Mind Dark's like Serial Overdrive, here's the deal. Hunt 5,000 of these mobs before you can do anything else or quit the game, I'd probably be like, alright, time to make the retirement video. I just don't have that type of, I don't have that type of head, I guess, right? Like, you know, I can craft 5,000 items because that involves me just clicking a button and walking away from the computer, but when it comes down to doing something like this, I can't kill 5,000 of them. That's just, it's too much for me. I know I'm never going to hit that before summer. It just takes me too long to kill them, and it's just too much time on one mob for me. So yeah, I'm probably not going to be staying up here to focus on those iron missions. I'm going to go down to Calypso and focus on whatever's there. Sorry, I'm just drinking some water here because my throat is killing me. Not sick, just from talking and all that, but yeah, trying to keep myself well hydrated and everything like that never hurts. But yeah, basically the challenges up here are just way too hard for me to complete, so I'm not even gonna bother. And I know what I should attempt, I know what I shouldn't attempt, and unlike most MMOs, you actually do lose money with this. Plus, to be honest, there's been some like really ridiculous server lag. I think you guys noticed that earlier in my video and in all my videos, literally like every video I made this month for Entropia Universe. There's been this lag, right? Like you're shooting a mob, and then all of a sudden, just everything freezes up. And every time it happens, because my computer's old now. It's 3 years old, right? Like that's old, especially when you're playing on a laptop. Every time it happens, I look at my computer in this like accusing manner, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Why are you lagging on this game?" And then I realize it's not my computer. It's literally the game. I thought for a while it was my internet. I thought it was this, it was that, and in the end, it was just the game. The game's just being laggy right now, which is not good. It's a weird time to be laggy. Like honestly, I mean, I get it, right? Because it's probably because more people are playing. So if you guys check out your deeds, if you do have deeds, if you don't have deeds, actually I'll just do it for you. Here we go. You can see right here, 79. I've been getting 70 to 85 PDs for my CLDs. My normal payout before COVID and everything like that was around 50. So the revenue, literally like game revenues probably jumped up by something like 25% for MindArc. So that's huge. And they're making money off of you, right? So like YouTube, my views jumped up, but the revenue not quite. My revenue actually fell because, COVID, less people are paying for advertisements. In a game like this, COVID, more people are online, more people are paying to play, so MindArc probably makes more money. So yeah, it's probably good for them. That was actually a bigger loot for me. On a level 28 mob, that's not that great, but it was a bigger loot for me. But yeah, for MindArc, it's probably been a blessing and a curse, right? Because they're probably getting more, like they're probably getting more players, making more money, but that means that there's more server lag. And I'm guessing that they're not running off of a cloud or something like that. Otherwise, it probably would have been very easy for them to just say, hey, we're gonna just bump up the servers, go from 1 server to 2 or whatever it is. But obviously that didn't happen. So yeah, now there's some lag in Entropia Universe, and it makes it harder to play, right? Especially when I wanna use this armor, when I wanna make videos of me hunting big mobs. It's just so hard to do because I'll miss like 5 or 6 shots, and next thing I know, like I go from full HP, and then my HP is way down to the red line, and all of a sudden I'm healing myself when I thought I had the mob, and that's just like it's not a good situation to be in. It's not fun for me. I don't think it's fun. I mean, it's not fun for anyone, right? Like, if you lose your money, you want to lose it fairly. If you die, you want to die because you did something stupid. You don't want to die because the game lagged. And that's true for literally every video game. Like, every video game has that. But because Entropia Universe is a real cash economy, there's an added sort of element of insult, because not only was your time wasted, so was your money. So yeah, that's I guess that's been my most like recent sort of qualms with the game. And obviously, there's been a lot of great stuff, and I can understand why they've got this. It's a small game, it's a small dev team. You can't expect a ton from them. So, it is what it is. And this is exactly why I hate the fact that there's Aatrox here, because right now they're burning through my Mayhem armor for no reason. I could take these things on with my Ghost. I should switch to my Ghost, but I'm being lazy. I don't want to spend the time. I think I can just kill. Look at that, 13 PDs. The Aatrox are looting better than the corn. That's crazy. It's crazy. Cornatarian, or whatever you say. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, that's sort of where everything is. If you guys are wondering why there's been less videos, that's a part of it. Otherwise, I've just been busy. Like, I've been swamped with work. Those of you guys who are on Discord and stuff like that and message me know I'm just way less responsive now because I've just been busy. Like, man, it's I guess a lot of people are sitting at home doing nothing, but not in my case. It's like, it feels like my work hours I've gone from like around 8 hours now, like usually, to now like 10 to 12 hours a day. Which, if you guys have ever done that, that's crazy, right? Like, I'm not commuting, but I pay more to live in my place so that I don't have a long commute. And now that's gone, so it's like I'm just paying more to live in a smaller place in the middle of a city that's shut down, which great job there for me. And to add insult to injury, the commute doesn't matter. So I'm not getting back that much time, but I've got to spend more time working because, revenues are down, people got fired, and, you got to keep projects coming in on time, right? You got to make your dates. So yeah, instead of 8 hours, you're doing 10 to 12, maybe the odd, 13, 14-hour day, which is, a good reason, I think, not to be putting out too much on YouTube, especially when these videos are, a lot of these videos actually don't make it. So like a lot of the serial overdrive videos that I make, I just, at the end of the day, I get done with that video and I sit back. I'm like, all right, that's one more serial overdrive video in the bag. Yeah, that video was stupid. Delete. And that's, it's 20 minutes just gone right there. And obviously, my video creation process for Entropia Universe is pretty straightforward. I just hit record and talk. So it's a lot easier than most people's. I get that. The views are a lot lower too. I get why. It's a smaller game. Not as many people are, into it. That's okay. It's completely okay. But that just means there's less competition, and someone who just hits record and talks can actually do decent compared to someone who would hit record talk and then have a $100 an hour editor going over everything and making it look all fancy and zooming in on stuff that happens and all that, right? So, I understand it all. I understand how all that works, right? But, just haven't been able to make as many videos because just haven't had the time. But yeah, I thought it'd be cool to do some hunting up here on Club Neverdie just to show people what's up. Obviously, loot's way down. I'm just going to hit this rank 1 and then probably call it. I've got 20% left, so I might as well hit that. But after that, I'm literally just going to head down because loot's been pretty bad. Like you guys saw it, that Aatrox right there, that was probably one of my better loots on Club Neverdie, and that was an Aatrox. I could loot that on Calypso. There's no reason for me to be up here paying a 5% tax to loot Aatrox, unless there's something I don't know about. Maybe someone's gonna come in and tell me why I'm wrong. Okay, yep, it was hidden by the hill. Great. I knew he was there. Obviously, we've got the radar and all that, but I was like, I need to get an angle on him. Or her, I shouldn't discriminate. Shouldn't label people. Or bulls. I guess I shouldn't even label it as a bull. No, I shouldn't label Cornetarian. I shouldn't label them. Ooh, another decent loot. Look at this. This means someone got a pretty big loot, right? Like, you don't leave your mining claim behind unless it's something big. I'm going to do the serial overdrive thing that a lot of people hate me for doing. We're going to drop a probe right on top of his claim because sometimes that works. And when it does, it's happy days. Didn't work today, but that's okay. That's okay. And technically, I feel like that's okay. Like, it's not off. So usually if someone's mining, you don't mine right ahead of them or right behind them if they were there first, because it's sort of like a shitty thing to do because you're taking their claim. At least that's how, me included, would say it works. But in this case, because there's no one here, I feel like it's a-okay for me to do. So yeah, let's go ahead and convert some of the shrapnel here because we're running out of ammo. I've got 71 PDs worth of shrapnel, so that's not too bad. And honestly, looking at this, I probably lost 40 to 50 PDs since coming up here. I haven't been through that much ammo though, but yeah, I probably took about 20% losses since I came to Club Neverdie, which is way higher than I was doing down when I was hunting Hoglow. So probably best I take off and leave this asteroid in the dust. After this, though, get that last 15% so I can get my 1 PD of whatever skill I choose. Maybe I'll just get a global, right? Maybe it's been building up. We'll see. You never know. But if you think like that, you're never gonna, you're just gonna keep wasting money. So you can't get into that. Can't get into that mindset, right? But yeah, let's see what else is going on. There's not too much going on the Entropia Universe front. In my opinion, things have actually been pretty quiet with the game. Like, I haven't heard of any major updates. They've been fixing some stuff and all that, but there's nothing crazy to talk about. Like, there's no drama going on. There's literally just that one time that thing happened. No crazy updates, no big loot changes to talk about, no big loot theories to talk about. So I'm sort of just twiddling my thumbs in most of these videos, just, shooting the shit and hoping I can come up with something. The last one I did, I actually had some fun with. I did a video on like Club Neverdie and what it is. I think that one turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Like, it sounds explains all the concepts of Club Neverdie and how people make money through it, because that's one of the things. Like, for those of you guys who don't know, this place that I'm in, Club Neverdie or Asteroid FOMA, is probably worth $1 million USD, right? I'm not just throwing that figure out. That's sort of what it's been valued at. And what that means is that people, every time they hear that, they're like, how would, because someone literally paid $600,000 for this a few years back. They're like, how could this be worth that much? And, you know, in that video, I actually went through and explained it and was like, all right, it does sound like a crazy number, but this is what, you know, it brings in money through this, and this avenue, and that's why it's worth it. And hopefully people are going to go and watch that, and then they'll have a little bit more understanding of how it works, and maybe, you know what, they're probably not going to understand. They're probably still going to leave comments about how crazy it is, because it is crazy, like, when I think about it, right? Like, if me personally, if you give me the choice, if you're like, Serial Overdrive, here's the deal, $600,000, do you buy real estate in real life or virtual, like Club Neverdie, right? Like, I'd probably choose real life real estate. Personally, that's just me. You know, I didn't make $1 million off of a virtual asteroid, and with this attitude, I won't. But personally, I'd probably always go with real estate, because that's just, that's the type of person I am, right? I feel like it's a more passive sort of investment for me. I might not make as much money, but that gives me some time to focus on work, which does make me money. Otherwise, I wouldn't, it's called work for a reason, right? Like, if I wasn't making any money and I was doing it for fun, it would be called super happy fun time, which is what I call when I record these videos. That's my super happy fun time. Work is not that, though. And so, actually, some people are asking me, let's jump into this. We're changing topics here. Sneaky Serial Overdrive topic change. Ooh, we got some Aatrox there. All right, good thing I jumped down there. I was going to get banned for... No, I wasn't. They're not going to ban me for that. So you can get in trouble if you're purposely pulling a mob to an area where it can't get to you, and then, like, gaming it so it, like, hits you every now and then you don't have to... That never becomes unlootable, and you can get in trouble for that. So don't do that, but if it does happen like that, it's not a big deal. It only becomes a big deal if you've been doing that for, like, 10,000 mobs, and then you hit an all-time high, and all of a sudden everybody's like, hey, what happened here? But, So, that's... what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, topic change, right? So, a lot of, like, in Discord, a lot of people have been talking about programming with me, and I guess most of you guys know, like, my job, why am I spelling it out for you? My job is as a programmer, right? And that was, like, way back in the day, so, like, I started programming way back, like, in the 90s, okay? Like, I was, like, learning to spell, and my dad's teaching me how to code, too, so, like, it was just something I always actually sort of had an interest in, and it was something that I was actually pretty decent at. It's one of those things, like, I literally signed up for coding classes in high school so I could play StarCraft. So, like, the teacher, in high school we had some programming classes, and the teacher was always, like, really cool. And he's like, hey, if you get all your work done, you can play StarCraft at the end of the class, okay? Like, this was the original StarCraft. And me hearing that, I'm like, oh man, this is perfect. I already know how to code. So I sign up for the class, and then, like, 2 weeks in, me and my friends are playing StarCraft. And the teacher's like, hey, no StarCraft until you're done with your homework. Like, I just assigned it. I'm like, oh no, you put all your stuff online, didn't you? And he's like, well, yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's all done. Like, I just, nailed it out in the first 2 weeks, and now we're going to play video games for the rest of the semester. And at first he's skeptical. He's like, all right, Serial, like, give me your homework. We're going to grade this thing. He doesn't want me to just be signing up for StarCraft class. Like, I'm here to learn how to program. So he reads through it all, and he's like, all right, you know all this stuff. And my friends knew too. Like, we were just geeks, right? Like, we all knew it. And he's like, oh, all right, like, so you guys all know this? And it's like, oh, yeah, like, we've been, this is an interest. This is something we like to do. He's like, oh, all right, like, and then he said, oh, in that case, you mind if I join you for StarCraft? So then we're just sitting in this class playing StarCraft with our teachers and all that, and, like, our teacher, and it was just a great time, right? And then when it comes time to, like, you go to the guidance counselor and they're like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I have no idea. Like, what should I do? Oh, here we're getting this lag again. Look at this. This is ridiculous. Look at that. He just, yeah. You guys can see why that's annoying, right? But at least I'm getting my own now, I think. Nope, I'm not. He's gonna, all right. That's some weird lag right there. But yeah, like, then, it comes time to choose what you're gonna do. And of course, for me, it's like, you go into the guidance counselor or whatever, and they're like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I like computers, though. There's probably money there. And this is like huge amounts of money in computers. And they were sort of like, wow, business might be better, but if you want to go into computers and you like what you do, like, go for it. And the advice I got basically from people was like, if you're going to make your hobby a career, and this is still true, if you're going to make your hobby a career, it's not going to be your hobby anymore for 90% of people. Some people get into, like, programming and they still like to do it in their free time. Most people don't. They say they do. Most of us say, like, when I'm at work, I'm just like, oh yeah, like, I'm going to go home and learn about server-side programming, or, the front end. I've never done that before. I want to learn that. That's cool. No, I say that because my boss wants to hear that, right? Like, you're playing the game. In reality, like, I do love coding. I do love that stuff, and every now and then I will, like, dive into it. But it is work. And when I get back from, like, working all day, like, thinking about programming, the last thing I want to do is think about programming some more. So in a way, what I did is I traded my hobby for my profession. And to be honest, like, I think that's something that I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? Like, if you're amazing at playing Call of Duty, or you're like Ninja, right? You're amazing at playing Fortnite. If you can make Fortnite something you hate but make $1 million doing it, that's awesome. Like, you should do that every day of the week, okay? There's nothing wrong with that, because the truth is, some of the time when you're working, you're going to enjoy what you're doing, and then some of the time you're going to absolutely hate it. And you get enough of those days when you absolutely hated it, and now it's not so much a hobby anymore. It's just something that you hate. That love comes and goes, right? Like, you're going to jump in and out of it. You're going to like it. You're going to hate it. It's going to be what it's going to be, okay? But you're going to be paid decently for it. You're going to be paid good for it, right? You're going to make good money. If you're going into computers, you're going to make good money, and, like, so you should always take that deal. You're giving up a hobby, but you're going to get 50% of the days that you go into work, you're not going to mind it. 50% you're going to hate it, and you're losing a hobby, but you're making good money. That's worth it. It's way better than, like, going into a job that you hate every day of the week and then coming home and programming for an hour every night. It is 100%. But on the same side of things, if you're going to take something that is a hobby and make it into a low-paying job, then you're going to lose a hobby and you're not going to make that much money. And I'd say then it isn't worth it. So I'd say that's something to consider. And also, when it comes to programming, there's a bunch of different sides to it, right? Like, you can become a game developer. That's probably what most people that are listening to this and thinking about computers are thinking they're going to do. But there's not that much money there. Most of the money's in that website stuff, right? Like, if you look at the stock market, okay, and you look at all the Fortune 500 companies, most of them are tech. Like, a lot of them are tech companies, but not a lot of them are gaming companies. Working in games is grueling. It's tough. It's long hours, and the pay isn't as good. So while that does sound, like, enticing, that does sound cool, you're going to end up hating gaming. You're going to end up hating programming. And then you're not going to get paid as much as you would if you went into something else. So my recommendation would be, if you can stomach it, right? Like, if it's something that you're at all like, yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. And you like gaming, look into back-end development, right? You're still dealing with some of the same problems. You're dealing with, optimization and running, like, games just run in cycles, right? Like, every cycle you do a set of operations, whether it's figure out if it's the night or the day, or shots being fired, or, someone's being healed. Every cycle you're just doing something, right? And every other cycle you might be doing this, and every other cycle you might be doing that. It's the same thing if you're doing, like, search engine optimization, or if you're doing, like, database just retrieval and stuff like that. You're still trying to do that optimization. Like, that's still going to check off the same thing in your head, but you're going to get paid way more for it, okay? And, if you're into gaming, like, that's probably going to be something that you can sort of somewhat get along with. And then, hey, if you have 6 months where you're not working, because that does happen, like, every now and then you'll just, well, at least if you're me, right? You'll leave a job. You won't have too much to do. You're just going to take some time off, travel, sort of get a break from it all. And I think that's actually, like, extremely helpful. And most people in the industry, because it's actually a relatively, like, chill industry, they can understand that. Like, if my friends who are in business, like if they go in and they say, oh yeah, I took a year off to just travel, relax, and study up on technique, they're gonna be like, Phil, you motherfucker, what do you think you were doing? You're smoking pot in Jamaica. You weren't doing, they're just gonna think that you're, loafing off, right? Loafing, that is an old as fuck word. All right, anyways, I hang out with too many old people. But if you're in programming and you're like, yeah, I went to smoke pot in Jamaica and study some like Java stuff, right? Some new techniques and technologies. They're going to be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Most people, right? Like, don't tell them you smoke pot, obviously, if you're doing that. But most people are going to be pretty cool with that. And that's the nice thing about the industry. It's very laid back, very chill. Like, you still got to get your work done. You've got to do your stuff, but it is chill like that. And you can take a year off, and as long as you can explain it away by saying, like, hey, if it is right now, you say, hey, look, global pandemic, couldn't go anywhere, wasn't the best time to study for jobs. But you know what I did when I was sitting at home? I learned a new language. And if you're looking to learn a new language, Cobalt looks like that's going to be one that's paying off in the future if you can stomach it. And, if you know it now, you should be making a killing, right? And if you're looking for something that's a little bit more cutting edge, I'd say look into Rust. Not the video game, look into Rust, the language, because that has a lot of interesting properties to it. Or, if you're looking for something tried and true that's just first language to learn sort of your base, like if you're back-end Java, if you're front-end, something like JavaScript. Okay, those are some pretty like safe bets, I'd say. I don't know that much about JavaScript, but I do know that like if you know JavaScript, it's pretty good if you can know front-end, back-end. But like if you know something like Angular and you know like a little bit of Node, that's going to get you very far in life too. Ooh, nice, we got the challenge done, and we got some pretty bad loot. So let's just head back and I'll take you guys down with me because we have a little bit more to talk about, right? But yeah, like it's a better industry. I think it's a lot more chill industry. It's a lot more relaxed. It's not as like studious and sort of like rigid, which is very nice. And again, if you're into game development, like you can probably do back-end engineering and you'll get about the same amount of enjoyment out of it without the hours. Obviously, like there are some really good reasons to get into game development. There's some really smart people in that industry. So it's not to knock them. It's just to say that the hours are probably going to be grueling, and even if it is your passion, in 10 years it might not be. And now you're still in that industry. Because whatever you specialize in, that's probably where you're going to be sort of stuck for a good amount of your career, just depending on where you are, right? If you're living off $100 a week and you're making $100,000 a year, then obviously you can switch to whatever profession you want, because if you're a chef at McDonald's, you're going to be able to live off of that. So, it doesn't matter if there's a salary hit, right? But if I'm a Java developer and I want to switch to front end, there is probably going to be some sort of salary hit unless I can convince a company that I can be full stack. And that is an option. Like there's a lot of options you can go with, but just know whatever you're picking, that's probably more or less going to be your specialization for a while. So let's real quick before we do anything, let's convert this. I want to check the markup on this stuff to see if it's even worth bringing back, to be honest. So spleen oil I definitely want to take. This stuff, it doesn't look like there's a ton of markup on it. I don't really have any in my storage down on Calypso, I think. So I'm just going to TT that because I just in case I get stuck in space talking and forget about it, I just don't want to die and end up out 25 PEDs because I was stupid. So yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, so like that's So that, yeah, career-wise, just stuff to think about, I guess. I know some people ask me for advice and they're like, yeah, I figured I'd just give it. If you're gonna go front end, that's just front end's pretty simple, like not simple, but front end is a little bit more cut and dry. Like you're probably gonna be doing some sort of like web technology, right? And obviously there are some other cool stuff you can do. Like if you really want to go low end, you can get into more like C, MIPS, assembly programming. I mean, honestly, programming and assembly wants me to I want to blow my brains out when I'm doing that, but some people love it. And if you love that like low level stuff, it's a little bit more niche. And the thing is, don't worry about going niche, because eventually, like by the time you're a senior developer, you're going to be more niche, right? Like very few senior developers go in and are like, yeah, I'm a Java programmer. No. You go in and you're like, I'm a Java programmer that specializes in Spring, or you're going to go in and be like, I'm a Java programmer that specializes in artificial intelligence in relation to the night and day cycle of Skyrim. You're going to have some very specific things that you do and that you do very well. And that's going to be why someone's going to pay you a lot of money to do them, right? But because you've got that specialization, it's going to be more niche. So if you're younger and you're like a junior dev, don't be afraid to go into like CPU programming because you think there's not the industry there. If you're flexible, if you're willing to move, if you're willing to, if you don't mind going to Houston to work for HP, I think it is. Yeah, HP. If you don't mind going to Houston to work for HP, then, what does it matter, right? Like, you could go to San Fran or Houston, you don't care. You'll be fine, right? Like, obviously have some idea, right? Like, if you want to live in one area, right? Like, let's say you want to live in, like, Ann Arbor, Michigan, okay? And I don't know what companies are out there, to be honest, but like if there's only one company out there, actually I don't even know how. I don't think Ann Arbor's that big, but whatever. If you want to go to like Ann Arbor, Michigan, that's where you want to live. Look into what companies are there, because if you're the only like assembly developer in Ann Arbor, it's going to be a very, very tough life for you. Especially if they've got like a Google office where everybody knows Java. You probably should have just gone into Java and tried to get that job at Google, because that's going to be a way better life for you. Obviously, you can work remote, and there are other options, but it's just, if you've got to work remote, if you've got these little, like, sort of things on your resume or things in your mind that you need to do, it makes it just a little bit harder to get a job, and all that does add up, right? Like, there's guys who are, like, super specific. They might be called out of retirement once every, 5 years, but when they're called out of retirement, they make $500,000. If you can sit in retirement that long and it's worth it to you, like, then go ahead and do it, right? Like, if you can wait that out, or if you have the availability, I guess the cash flow and the availability and sort of the drive to just keep yourself in the industry and keep yourself relevant, wait for that right opportunity, you can make anything work. If you want to be the only MIPS developer in Montana, go for it, right? Because there's going to be someone that will probably hire you to work remote eventually, but that's going to be a lot harder job to get than if you're a MIPS developer working in, San Fran, that's willing to move all across the U.S. or maybe all across the globe. So, keep that in mind. Obviously, figure out where you're thinking of going for your first job and sort of base your picks on that, especially if you're in between. But I'd say first off, like, if you're not location dependent, just pick your career based on what you enjoy in that field. This goes for anything, right? Like, if you enjoy international business, don't pick domestic marketing just because they pay you a couple thousand more. You're going to do way better in international business in 10 years because you actually do enjoy some aspects of the job. Same with programming, right? Like, if you enjoy Java way more than you enjoy JavaScript, go with Java. As a junior dev, I tried everything. I tried full stack and got a bit of everything. I tried some like Python, some Java, some JavaScript, some, all sorts of different languages. Figured out what I liked, and just, that's what I went with. I just kept specializing from there. And you're going to end up doing the same thing. So, like, as a junior dev, it might not matter as much, but if you do know what you want to do, it does help out a lot. And always have sort of keep that in mind when you're figuring things out for life. I don't know, some people we were talking about this in Discord, and some people thought it would be, I don't know, some people liked it. There's probably like 10 of you guys still listening, but hopefully you enjoy the conversation, and hopefully there's no one screaming at their computer that Serial Overdrive got it all wrong and just giving horrible advice to people. Obviously, this is all from my experience, right? Like, I'm a developer in Boston. Okay, Boston's like a pretty big tech city. Obviously, there is a little bit of bias there because I'm just going to get paid, a decent amount because there's a lot of competition. If you're out in the middle of nowhere, then there's no competition. They know they have you. It's going to be a little bit harder for you to get a job. You're probably not going to get the same amount of pay as you would, but at the same time, the cost of living might be lower. I don't know. Trying to think what else there's for me to say, but I think that's it. Yeah, I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Like, does this advice actually help you? I don't know how many of you guys are out there even looking into, like, whether you should pick a career or not. We could get into, like, the limitations of Java versus Rust versus Go, and some of the reasons I dislike Go versus this or that. But a lot of it comes down to personal preference, to be honest. There's a lot of people out there who will, like, make all sorts of crazy arguments in, like, developer world for, like, this is what you need to use all the time, or this, and in reality, it's like, you pick the best tool for the job, right? Like if you're trying to unscrew a chair leg and there's screws in it, you're not going to pull out the hammer, right? Just like if you're trying to pull a nail out, you don't pull a screwdriver out, because those choices don't make sense. With programming, it's much the same, and you're going to end up dabbling in everything, but it's good to have one or two specializations, because that's where you're going to actually be able to really succeed and show yourself and improve your career. But honestly, if you're younger, like if you're just looking at like what degree to get, you don't need to worry about the language. Just go for the comp sci or the computer engineering or the electrical engineering with the computer engineering specialty or whatever degree, right? Programmer degree. It doesn't really matter if you've got the degree. It does get your foot in the door. So this is the other thing actually that's worth talking about. As long as I'm standing here, can we sit on this bench? We can't. We'll stand on the table instead. If you're a developer, right, and you're like, should I go to college or not? Because I've heard some people talk about that. I think it's worth it. You can be self-taught, but it does take a little bit more to be self-taught, and you're probably not going to get paid as much to start. And there is like a pedigree to having a degree. It does put your foot in the door. It's a piece of paper. I get it. There's a lot of people who've done really good without it. I have a degree, full disclosure. That means that I'm going to value it more. Just like if I have a Ferrari, I'm going to value the Ferrari at $200,000 or whatever I paid for it probably. And if you don't have a Ferrari, you might say it's worth $1. No one with a Ferrari is going to sell it for you for $1, but you can say that's what it's worth. It's the same thing with the degree, right? The degree got my foot in the door, got me a high-paying job, which has allowed me to keep getting higher and higher-paying jobs. I started off higher, and if you do the math on that, right, like if you start off your career, and let's make this easy, you're getting paid $1,000. I start off my career and I'm getting paid $10,000. If both our salaries go up by 50% in 5 years, now I'm getting $15,000, and you're getting 7.5. So that gap is going to stay there that whole career. If you start off 4 years ahead of me, maybe you're going to be paid $12,000 by the time I get out of school and get $10,000. And that's a reality. That is 100% possible. Just depends. But you're going to have a little bit harder time landing interviews until you get your first few career jobs. And also, if you guys are wondering, like, if you get offered something from like a big tech company versus startups or smaller companies, obviously like startups have stock options and all that. You've got to weigh the value of them. But here's the thing. Okay. If you're getting a job from a top 40 or top 5 tech company, right? It's like big fives. Think like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple, any big company, right? Like if you pull stuff out of your pocket, they're going to be making it. Or if you go to a website, they made it. If you're going to be like normal website, not yeah. You get what I'm saying. If you're working with one of those companies, having that name on your resume is going to be worth a ton. Like if Amazon says they're going to pay you $10,000 less than some startup you've never heard of, unless that startup goes big and you make a huge amount on stock options, it's probably better to go with Amazon for the first 2 years of your career, because the next 40 are going to be awesome and you're going to get paid a ton. That's just my advice. But then we can get into startups too, because I've gone that route too in my life. I guess I'm old, so I have some stuff to say. But yeah, maybe that's for another video. I should honestly, if you guys are interested, those of you guys who made it this far, would you be interested in a Serial Overdrive Tech Talk type podcast? Put it out once a week. I'll get 100 of you guys to listen, and I'll get no advertising money whatsoever, but I can still post it to YouTube. Maybe just put it over some random gameplay, and maybe we could, just gameplay going, and I'll just be talking. Let me know what you guys think. Anyways, I'm going to end this video here because we're at 40 minutes. That's crazy. I talk too much. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, feel free to ask them down below. I'm not a guidance counselor or anything like that, so take everything I said with a grain of salt. So, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and until next time, peace.